Yes, sir. What's going on? It's your boy AB, and we back with another installment of Open Gym Morning Hustle Live. Offense, defense. We talking everything Eagles. Eagles win 15-12 over the Saints down in New Orleans. Offense struggled early, but the offense got it together in the second half. Led by Dallas Goedert, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts. Defense was sensational last night. We still had some Nick Sirianni issues that I want to talk about as well coming up soon. But then also, obviously, around the NFL, the NFC, they looking a little shaky right now. And the Cowboys, we already know, they suck. So let's tune in. Let's get right to it. Let's get it. Open Gym Morning Hustle.
Man, that's the
This champ talk, shooting shots, they just want me to fade. But my game made when I'm getting buckets today. Crossover, pull up, bet you fall for the hezzy. Game 7, prime time is butterflies on your belly. Now can you do it? Folding under the pressure, boy, can you do it? If you going, show 'em who better. Don't let the game slip and don't get caught in the lights. Crown me, yeah, Jordan taking off on the
Baby,
flight.
give me all the rings right now, we the champions. We the champions. I do my thing right now and it can't be done. They said it can't be done. Give me all the rings right now, we the champions. We the champions. I do my thing right now and it can't be done. They said it can't be done.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's a victory Monday. Eagles win 15-12 over the New Orleans Saints, but you already know. Before we do anything, after Eagles win, you already know what we gotta do. Come on, everybody, cue my music. On the road to victory. Fight, y'all, to a touchdown. 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em and watch our Eagles fly. On the road. Come on, everybody, sing it with me. Let's get it. Come on. E-S. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I appreciate all you guys coming in today. I welcome everybody to another installment of Open Gym, The Morning Hustle. Woo! Installment of Open Gym. It was a little bit of a struggle early on, but we got it together as the games went along, and we're going to talk all about it today. As you know, the Eagles yesterday afternoon went down to New Orleans versus the New Orleans Saints to go and beat the New Orleans Saints 15-12. And I'm here, and we're going to talk about the ups. We're going to talk about the downs. We're going to talk about the ins. We're going to talk about the outs. We're going to talk about the good. We're going to talk about the bad, the dirty, the clean, all of it. We're going to talk about all of it. But before we get right into it, obviously, I appreciate every last one of you guys being here with me this morning on the Eagles Reaction Monday. Yeah, man, obviously, Open Gym is the movement. Glad to be with my new partners, as I always state, Metro Philly and PhillySportsNetwork.com. Appreciate you guys again. Help us help you continue to bring great content, great conversations, great analysis, great everything from pictures to videos to commentary to whatever we got it for you. Continue to show the love, continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share all platforms. Make sure you follow us on all social media and everything. Man, but let's hop right into it. It's an Eagles Monday. After a win, Eagles are now 2-1, and I'm so glad we got a win just to be able to build on it. Obviously, we know the Eagles defeat the New Orleans Saints yesterday. We had a 1 p.m. game, and it was a little bit of a I ain't gonna say snooze fest, but it definitely was. Okay, she know PSN as well. Okay. Sorry, that's my boss. But obviously it was great to see them get a win, get a comeback win as that. It was definitely trying at times. It definitely didn't look well as well. It might be. It was a great it wasn't great at first, but later on it definitely got better. You know, things started to move a little smoothly. Players started to get open. The offense started to execute. So yeah, let's dive right in on it. Let's dive right into it. Eagles defeat the New Orleans Saints 15-12. I guess my overall view before we start breaking it down, you know, position by position, player by player, offense, defense side. Let's break my overall overview of the game. So I leave that game after that game a little bit, I would say, relieved in some areas. Obviously, we get into it later on specifically, but obviously players like Jalen Carter, Quentin Mitchell, we had some injury scares. You know, things looked better when it came to that front. You know, some things Jalen did, you know, later on versus early in the game. So I left at ease with certain things like that, right? It was difficult early. I mean, I know all of us sitting there watching that game early on, in that first half specifically, it wasn't the best. It was not the best showing on our part. Rather, it was quarterback play, line play at times. Obviously, not having Devontae Smith, who I'm not Devontae Smith. I'm sorry, AJ Brown, who didn't play again. Obviously, I told y'all last stream, I feel like he probably won't come back until after the bye week, which is week 5. Well, the bye week is week 5. Yes, we come back. So week 6, essentially. So after the bye week. So we was already down AJ again. Smitty was the Lone Ranger at the time. And obviously, we all know later on in the game, he got injured. I believe they said it was concussion symptoms, a concussion. So he was, you know, ruled out off of a cheap play. We'll dive into that later on. But even before he went out, Smitty was being Smitty. You know, he was the lead guy, catching passes over the middle down the field, taking short routes, making them going a long way with that as well. So he was good. There was, like I said, there was some good things, some bad things. But early on, it wasn't good. Like you say, the first 3 possessions, I believe, of the offense, 2 out of the first 3 possessions were turnovers. Obviously, there was a pick with Jalen Hurts. There was a pick with Jalen Hurts once again, which I believe personally. I know y'all probably think, you know, I'm a defender, but I am a bit. But at the same time, I can be a realist. I believe when that pick in the end zone was a great read. It was an anticipation throw. I just believe, me personally, I just believe Devontae needed to cut that route a little bit more flat and in front of the defender's play. I believe it was Tyrann Mathieu who intercepted the ball. I just believe he needed to run just a little bit more flat, in front of the defender. And I believe it would be a better chance of him catching it because it looked like, you know, the way he ran his route, Tyrann bumped him off the route and just ran right in front of him and got the interception. So I'm not mad at the play. I know I've seen some videos out there where early you might have had a chance to Dotson on the left side, and maybe I was someone else over there as well. But obviously the progression was look off the defender, come back to Smitty across the middle. It looked like the same route, actually, that they ran the week before that Smitty caught a touchdown pass on as well, if I'm not mistaken. So you can't say it was bad this week, but not bad last week. You know, when last week Jalen actually threw over 2 defenders in the back of the end zone to Smitty. So I would think that would probably be a tougher pass. Not even over. He threw 3 defenders actually to Smitty last week to get that touchdown. So I would think that the difficulty of the pass was last week versus this week, where I feel like it was just more of a not even saying miscommunication, because everyone was on the right page, right read, right route, right decision to throw, a good throw. If Smitty just runs that route just a little flatter in front of Tyrann Mathieu. Not saying he would have caught it automatically. He's not A.J. Brown. He doesn't have a big body, big frame, all the things like that. But it would have, at worst come to worst, an incomplete pass. You know what I'm saying? So I do believe on that particular situation, Smitty could have ran a better route. But again, listen, turnovers are turnovers, and turnovers, like especially interceptions, that's a QB stat. So Jalen got to hold that. So that's own that. But that's another turnover in his resume. Now the second turnover, I believe, was on one. It was a punt. No, turnover, punt. So I believe it was actually the next possession. Actually, because we punted, then it was 2. So the next possession actually on offense, that's on Jalen. He got to protect the ball. He escaped out left. He ran left. He's running with the ball, holding the ball, which I'm not mad at. He was looking down the field, maybe wanted to throw, and in that last minute he was going to run, pick up some yards. So I'm not mad at what was happening in that possession of the play. He just got to hold on to the ball. He's running it with one hand, and we all know, especially if you grew up in my era of football, you got guys like Mike Vick, who was he was an advocate, a known player of just having the ball exposed, running with it. And granted, he wasn't like it was ripped out. Once he got hit from behind, once he got hit from behind, ball jarred out, him not securing the ball. So that's on him as well. So that's 2 turnovers again by Jalen Hurts. He has to be better. I'm going to start this off by saying that from the rip, because I don't want people to think I'm glossing over the fact that Jalen Hurts once again had turnovers, but it happened. It happened, and Jalen has to own it. Jalen has to own it. So offensively, early on, things were definitely rough. Things were definitely scarce. Things were definitely a little worrisome, I would say. Early on, because like I said, not only that, when we get into it later on, because Nick Sirianni's another issue that I believe we have as a team. We left points on the field as well that could have helped. So as a whole, the first half to me, even though there were some good plays in that first half, because we also seen Dallas Goedert as well. He had a couple passes earlier. He had a deep pass early as well. And that was the one that set us up in the red zone before Jalen threw the interception. But again, it was some good things, some bad things. But overall, that first half was not good enough, especially going on the road, down in New Orleans, a tough environment to play in the Superdome. It was loud in there. We were already in a silent count, early in the game because it was so loud in there. So a lot of different things are not in the team's favor, and to be giving the ball away in the first half is definitely something you don't want to go in on the road to, just give away possessions to the opposing team, especially somewhere like New Orleans, who came into this game leading the league, and I believe in rushing offense in total, I believe 400 and something yards total, something like that. So, but that was something that we looked at. But let's look at Jalen's stats here. He didn't have a bad game. If you look at the stat line, I know us as Eagles fans, we dive into it just a little bit more. We definitely, look at our quarterback just a little bit extra. We can just get to see them every day. Each and every play we look at the offense, everyone's eyes is glued on the quarterback. So we are a little bit more in tune to what's been happening and how it's been happening as of late when it comes to Jalen Hurts. But definitely something that if you look at his stat line, you wouldn't have thought he had a bad game outside of the 2 turnovers. So run down Jaden's stat line, which I don't like. He had almost 40 passing attempts, which I've always stated that for me personally, I know Saquon, for him 25 is good. For me, total touches if it's needed 30, but Jaden definitely don't want him throwing over 30 times, and he threw almost 40. If you're talking about Jalen between 25 to 30 throws a game, I'm fine by that. Me personally, I'm fine by that. I know others wanted to be dumbed down. He only throwing 17 to 25 passes or something like that, which is asinine to me. This is the NFL. This is about points. We all know that if you're a quarterback, if you can't do certain things, owners, this is what they want. They want the ball thrown. They want the league wants the ball thrown. They want action. They want, plays to be made, exciting plays to be made, touchdowns to be scored. So Jalen Hurts, 29 for 38, 311 yards. Like I told you, he had the one interception. He had the one fumble loss. He had 23 yards rushing. No, 25 yards rushing on 8 attempts, which is good. So he looks like he's healthy. He's running again. He had a couple good scrambles yesterday as well. He had an 88.8 passer rating. His longest pass was for 61 yards. That was the Dallas Goedert pass in the fourth quarter. So let's see. So yeah, Jalen, that a good night by him, as you can see. Overall, when you look at the stats, so I love that. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, all this wouldn't have happened without these two guys, Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert. Saquon rushing 17 times for 147 yards, 2 touchdowns. His longest run was the 65-yard run for a touchdown. Caught 4 passes. Caught all 4 of his passes. He was targeted 4 times. Caught all 4 of his targets for only 9 yards. Longest pass was for 3 yards, and then he also had a 2-point conversion as well. Like I said, Dallas Goedert, 10 catches. 10 targets, 7 catches. Receiving, I believe he had 10 catches actually, 170 yards yesterday as well. That's Smitty on Reed. I'm sorry. Yeah, 10 catches, 170 yards, had the 61-yard run late in the game. Devontae Smith had 10 targets, 7 catches for 79 yards. So before his injury, Devontae, like I said, was having a solid game. Very good game. Who knows what happened as well. Paris Campbell, we seen the Paris Campbell. He had 2 catches. Kenny Gainwell, Britton Covey, Johnny Wilson, Jahan Dotson. He got a few more targets this week, 8 yards. But it look like they're trying to get him going as well. So we see how that go. On the other side, Derek Carr, 25 attempts, 14 completions, only 142 yards. Didn't even crack 150 yards after having 2 superb games, previous games. His longest pass was 29 yards. Alvin Kamara, 26 attempts for only 87 yards. Great day from the defensive line. We'll get into the defense later on as well. Great day from him. Chris Olave, only 86 yards, 6 catches. Who was the guy Shaheed, who was the biggest threat or the biggest concern going into this game, knowing he was the speedster down the field. 5 targets, caught none of his passes for 0 yards. So that was a great day by the secondary as well. Defense balled out. Although defense, they were sending pressure early by the Saints, and Tyrann Mathieu had the pick early, the fumble recovery early. Other than that, they really didn't have a lot going on. Really didn't have a lot going on as of late. Excuse me. As of late, okay. I'm just getting some information here. Okay, so they really didn't have a lot going on defensively as well. The Eagles, we led the game in time of possession, 32 minutes to their 27 minutes. 20 first downs by us versus their 12. Let's see. Rushing yards, 25 times for 172 yards to their 29 rushes for 89 yards, which we all know the Saints had the top rushing attack coming into this game. Completions, 29 completions, 38 attempts, 311 yards. Obviously, Jalen and them said we had 4 sacks for 23 yards versus their 1. Let's see. Obviously, we lost a fumble, 2 turnovers, so they're 1. So they won the turnover battle as well. We were even on third down conversions, 6 to our 14, 6 to their 13. Fourth down conversions, we completed 1 out of our 3, which we shouldn't have had as many as we had to their 1 conversion rate. We're gonna talk about the fourth down conversion rate that they fell doing that we're gonna talk about later on. So getting that out the way, like I said, overall, offense early lagged, offense early, little dysfunctional, offense early trying to figure it out. Second half, second half is when we turned it on late. I want to talk about that as well. So, and we could talk about this second half because that's mostly where the game was really most important at, minus the things about Nick Sirianni later on that haunted us later on in this game as to why we could have actually won this game more easily than we thought. But yeah, offense, while they were struggling early, defense held it down. Defense came to play from start to finish. But the second half, that's what it was all about, the offense. Saquon Barkley, after stopping them on 4th and 1, the fourth down conversion that I told you about, after stopping them on 4th, Saquon Barkley, here he comes. 65 yards to the house. Call it. When people see, and I see in the chat right now, what's going on, everybody? Jeff, what's going on? He put it up there right now. People laugh when you said Saquon would be our McCaffrey. It's undeniable. I think people forget how special Saquon is. Because he was down in New York with the Giants. No offensive line, no real help around him later on in this game. Daniel Jones actually won this is your quarterback. Just a lot of things that was wrong around him, and you still seen production from him. So you sit there, you think, okay, what would happen if I put him behind, compared to this last offensive line, a superior offensive line? What if I put him behind a quarterback who, although has his flaws, more competent and for the most part better than the quarterback that he has? With as much talent, even though not last night, which as much talent around him, like a AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. What can happen? We're talking about Saquon Barkley. Excuse me. Saquon Barkley, who in the past will probably have to get the ball total touches 30 plus times a game just to be effective, but still was effective. We saying Barkley 17. A total touch, and I just said at the beginning of this broadcast that I'm good with Saquon between 20 to 25 touches because I believe in the ability. He don't need a lot of touches, but 20 to 25 touches, I feel like is solid, is good because he is explosive. Like you said, it wasn't as great early on, but all he needed is one play. And literally that one play you seen gave us the very first points all day. We didn't score until the fourth quarter, what I want to say about 13 to 14 minutes left in the game. And we needed every last bit of it. Saquon Barkley was sensational. Saquon Barkley is who we thought he would be. Saquon Barkley is that such of a talent. Saquon Barkley, arguably, if not the best offensive player on the offense, for certainly outside of the quarterback and offensive line, obviously, probably your most important skill position because, as you can see, without a guy like AJ Brown, and then as well Smitty, even though he was still in the game at that time, but even against Smitty towards the before he left towards the end of the game, he was still in. Even with just Smitty out there, Saquon can break a game moving. Saquon can impact the game to where it essentially opened the floodgates for this offense, because before then, excuse me, before then, like I said, there was some good and some bad, but overall, we still didn't have points at this time. And at that 14-minute mark, once Saquon went and got that touchdown, ran for that touchdown, you seen the offense start to percolate, start to move, start to work. Offensive line blocking, pass blocking was good. And we get into that as well, and the injuries as well. We lost Lane and Mekhi Becton earlier in that game. Well, yeah, earlier in that game before the fourth quarter. I want to say within like the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken, like mid third quarter, we lost Lane Johnson and Mekhi Becton. I want to say either in the same possession, or in the same play, or like back-to-back plays. Excuse me. But Fred Johnson, Tyler Steen, who actually lost his job to Mekhi Becton, came in at right guard. Fred Johnson came in at right tackle. Held their own. I want to show you a stat. We all know Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata. That left side is pretty stout. You know, it's not a lot you have to worry about when it comes to them. Not saying that they're perfect, but they definitely have to worry about that. So once we lost Lane and once we lost Mekhi Becton once we lost Mekhi Becton, it's already like, okay, but we got somebody, Tyler Steen, who's ready to come in. But once we lost Lane, that's when it was like, okay, what's going to happen? Because we all know the record when it comes to Lane. We have a winning record. I'm talking about superior rare. Like I'm talking about double-digit win record versus single-digit loss record when Lane Johnson is in versus when he's not playing. These guys showed up and they played. I much respect to Fred Johnson, Tyler Steen. You talking about having what's his name? I'm about to call that man Cameron Wolf. Cameron cannot think his name. The DN. I'm sorry, but it's no slouch over there whatsoever. So to be thrust into that situation and for you guys to show up the way that they showed up was sensational. Jeff Stoutland, you done it again, essentially like that. Let me show you. So you got here, like I said, Tyler Steen filled in for Mekhi Becton, who got injured his finger at right guard. 35 blocking snaps, 0 pressures allowed, 0 QB hits, 0 sacks allowed. Cam Jurgens and 45 passing blocking snaps, 0 pressures allowed. Excuse me. 0 pressures. Same thing for Tyler Steen. 0 pressures allowed, 0 QB hits, and 0 sacks allowed. So, I mean, for something like that, and like I said, I didn't get the stats on Fred Johnson, but you didn't see a lot coming from them. Jalen, if you watch that second half, Jalen definitely had more of a comfortable pocket. He was standing in there more. He was manipulating the pocket. He was, excuse me, he was manipulating the pocket. He was standing in there. He was making sure he stayed alive, looking downfield, finding people with passes. So he was getting comfortable with those guys. Not that he can't get comfortable with the others, but you know, when you get not only one offensive lineman to be out and you have to replace, but then when you go on and you have to replace 2 offensive linemen, and then that right tackle, that offensive lineman is essentially an all-pro, Pro Bowler on his way to the Hall of Fame linebacker in Lane Johnson, it worries you. It absolutely worries you going forward. As far as Cameron Jordan, that's his name. I appreciate y'all. Cameron Jordan was the DN on the Saints. Like, so again, taking out Lane Johnson. Appreciate you, John. That's John Ultimo on here. not only losing Lane, not only losing Makai, you replacing literally 2/5 of your offensive line. Something, communication, lack of talent. They're bigger. Fred Johnson, big guy, but Tyler Steen isn't as big as Makai Becton. So a lot of different things could go into it. But again, showed up, showed out, played very well. So I definitely want to make sure I sit here and give those two the prop. That's something that might go real unnoticed throughout the day, because I know the talk is going to be about the defense, Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert, but that can't go unnoticed, because at the end of the day, we all know the trenches is where games are made and where they start from. Offensive line, defensive line, if they stink, you don't have a very good chance. And we seen that last night. I believe it was the Chicago game, 4th down. I think it was like 4th and 1, 4th and 2. They ran an option play, but literally once the play started, the whole Chicago Bear offensive line got pushed back, or pushed down. So if you don't have an offensive line, ask Caleb Williams how hard it is to play without an offensive line. So I want to give them, me personally, my shout out specifically because again, I know they're going to go unnoticed in all of this as well. So they definitely deserve a shout out, because they definitely held their way, held their own during that thing. So, but yeah, fourth quarter, that's when it all came loose. Saquon Barkley had a great game, but again, this is why, and we're going to get on Jalen now. This is why, not get on him, but talk about him. This is why I say what I say when it comes to Jalen Hurts. Yes, he has his flaws. One more time for y'all. Yes, he has his flaws. Two more turnovers, an interception, and a fumble loss. I believe that's 6 from the year already. When his runner-up MVP year, I think he only had about 6 all year. 6 already for him this year. He has to be better. He puts our teams in holes. He puts our defense in peculiar situations that they don't need to be in, because we all know after last night's game, after yesterday's game, I'm not saying the defense is all the way back or the defense is top 5. They have the potential to be these, but the people got to, get right. But at the same token, you can't, I don't care what team you are, you can't put your team in short fields and expect them to just all the time bail you out, even though last night they did both times, only holding them to field goals, which was sensational by their part, and it was red zone trips that they actually stopped them on. So to hold them to field goals all those times, it was great to see from the defense, standing up, specifically the defensive line and the linebackers who we've all, the front 7 essentially, who we all talked about going into the season as being our biggest question marks, knowing that we lost a guy like Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick, linebackers all new. Like I said, all the young guys are now being forced to play a lot more. So these were things that we worried about early on the season. But for them to have a game like that, to stop them in the red zone twice for us, to limit the bleeding or limit the downward spiral that we could have essentially easily gone into, being down in New Orleans in the Superdome. To do that was amazing to see. But that fourth quarter by this offense, and Jalen Hurts specifically, I'll pull this up for you right now. Jalen Hurts specifically in the fourth quarter. This was tweeted by Jeff Kerr of CBS. Jalen Hurts in the fourth quarter against the Saints, 7 for 10, 112 yards, no TDs, no interceptions, 107.1 passer rating, 2 for 3, 66 yards, 109.7 rating on the game-winning drive. So right there lets you know he can be special and the potential of him being for this team. He just has to put whole games together and essentially just stop the turnover. Because when he doesn't put that up again, when he don't turn the ball over, he's very good. He's very good. When Jalen Hurts does not turn the ball over, Jalen Hurts is very good. I just read you the stat in the fourth quarter, what Jalen Hurts did. It was blitzes coming at him. It was pressure in his face. It was good defense on the back end with their secondary. Like I said, he was manipulating the pocket. He is moving up in the pocket, moving left to the pocket, moving right to the pocket, creating more time to actually make a play, not creating more time to be a hero. You seen him throw the ball away, give himself another chance, another down to play with. To play the Dallas Goedert that we all love, that was 3rd and 16. When do we ever see an Eagles team ever convert a 3rd and 16? Ever. When do we ever see an Eagles team ever convert? We're actually most of the time on the other side of that, giving up 3rd and 20s, giving up 3rd and 22s, 3rd and 16s and 15s. We're usually on the other side of that. And for him to go down there, and I'm going to put it up again for you to just visually see it. In the fourth quarter, totally 7 for 10, 112 yards. I know he didn't score, but 0 TDs. 0 interceptions. No fumbles. The game with a drive, 2 for 3, 66 yards. Take care of the ball, Jalen Hurts. That's it. That's it. I truly believe if Jalen Hurts take care of the ball, we win games easily. Or more comfortably, I would say, because nothing's easy in the NFL. Nothing's given to the NFL. And there's a lot of different variables and factors that go into a game that can make a game hard. Maybe the defense is struggling, special teams gave up something, whatever. But if we put this in the vacuum and we just look at isolate the offense, isolate Jalen Hurts, isolate what they need not to do to be able to succeed with all this talent, we were missing A.J. Brown from the start. We lost Smitty later on. Dallas Goedert still ends the game with 10 catches, 107 yards. Saquon Barkley still had 147 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? We have the talent. We're losing 2 key wide receivers. We're talking about our 1 and our 2. We are now down to Johnny Wilson, Paris Campbell, and Jahad Dotson as our 3 wide receivers. I'm not going to mention Britton Covey, who had 6 catches last week. Britton Covey even got hurt yesterday. So you're down to Paris Campbell, Johnny Wilson, and Jahad Dotson. Granted, they played okay. I'm not saying they played, great, but they didn't hurt us. Johnny Wilson caught his 1 pass and converted the first down. Although Paris Campbell, was short on that 1 first down that we needed, when we didn't convert on the 4th right after that. Caught the balls when the balls was thrown to him. He had a very good contested throw late in that game as well. I believe it was during that 4th quarter as well. Actually that last drive, he had a good contested catch. And I want to say it was either Lattimore or Tyron who was guarding them at the moment. Caught the ball, gave us some yardage. Solid game. Didn't hurt us. It wasn't great, but didn't hurt us. Jahad Dotson didn't explode off the page, pause. But didn't hurt us as well. He was a key factor in that Dallas Goedert 61-yard run, catch and run, because it was a pick play. But we all know in the past, it's another thing. When the last time the Eagles run pick plays and we actually succeed and convert those without it coming back because of a penalty? And then to run that type of play with a guy who's only been here 3 weeks now, and Jahan Dotson, and he ran it to perfection, ran his route, ran directly to the defender. But don't touch him, people. That's all. Because the way the play is designed, it's going to work on its own. Once they found out the Saints were in man coverage, and I appreciate y'all guys coming in here. Make sure I continue to like, comment, and share. But you run it perfectly, run it towards the man. Just don't touch him. And he ran it beautifully. He ran, running into the defenders. It was in man coverage, but instead of running into the defender, he runs directly through all three of them. So the defender that was going to pick him up, he slowed down. The other defender who was coming across with Dallas Goedert, now he's full sprint running because he's trying to keep up with Goedert. The man, I believe it was Marcus Lattimore, it's the other cornerback that was on him. He's following Jahan Dotson, so he's in a full sprint because you're talking about two drag routes coming across. And all he has to do is run past. And what happens? He runs past through. The defender that's coming to pick him up, he stopped. And you know in football, it only takes moments. He stops. That split second slows him down. The defender that's guarding Dallas Goedert, the defenders that's guarding Jahan Dotson, they run into each other because they're in full sprint, just looking at their person they're guarding, trying to stay with them. So they run into each other. Plus the other defender that's supposed to pick up Dotson slows down for a half a second. Dotson is through. Now you got two defenders running into each other, almost falling. One that slows down. Now we got Dallas Goedert. He's off. He's off and running. 61 yards later, we're in the red zone and we're ready to punch it in with Saquon Barkley to score. So things like that hurt us early on with, penalties, lined up wrong, illegal procedures, legal motions, holding, offensive pass interference, all those things. Usually we're on the other side of those things. So it was definitely great to see Jalen Hurts in his offense, and especially before I continue, thank God Kellen Moore finally figured out how to use Dallas Goedert. Because there's no way in the past 2 games, Dallas Goedert should not have been, it didn't have to be featured, but a part of this offense. As you can see, he's a mismatch. He's fast for a big tight end as he is, physical, and all does not go down after the first hit ever. So it took game 3, no A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith being injured for you to finally realize you have a special talent, a potential-wise all-pro, no, not even potential. Well, potential because he hasn't done it yet, but I believe an all-pro, Pro Bowl, top 5 tight end in this game if utilized correctly. If we had an offense, and hopefully, this season they see that and want to do it. But if you have an offensive coordinator that can utilize them, like the guys, like not too much this year, but early on, like a Mark Andrews, a Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, Travis Kelce, even George Kittle, just use your tight ends are weapons. Most of the time, when you have a good one to a great one like we have in Dallas Goedert, you have a mismatch regardless, whether it's a safety and whether it's a linebacker. And don't even put a corner on them. That's basketball. Let's post up, throw it up, give it to me, barbecue chicken shack. We out here. So it was glad to see that Dallas Goedert was actually utilized to his fullest potential this year. Thank God. Thank God. Absolutely. Thank God Dallas Goedert was used today. Thank God Dallas Goedert was absolutely used yesterday, man. Thank God. But yes, back to the offense of Jalen Hurts. That fourth quarter to me was what makes Jalen Hurts special. The fourth quarter is what makes Jalen Hurts special, when he doesn't turn the ball over, and when he just makes the right reads or makes the right throws or takes what the defense is giving to him. This is what makes Jalen Hurts special, because when you give him the time, when you give him the weapons around him, he already has the ability. It's just up to him. And more times than none, I feel like how he played in the Super Bowl or that year in general is more of is more of who Jalen Hurts is than the latter. Again, that year might have been an overachieving year when it came to his turnovers, because that's not a small sample size anymore when it comes to turnovers. It is what it is right now. Jalen Hurts, he has to own that title of, not turnover machine, but he turns the ball over. He absolutely turns the ball over. You can make Jalen Hurts turn the ball over, whether it's through the air or if you get to him, he can fumble the ball as well. So I say he overachieved that MVP year, maybe with not so many turnovers, but everything else you still see. The passing yards, I believe right now, after yesterday, outside of the Monday game tonight, after yesterday, Jalen Hurts is, I believe, 5th in the league in passing yards with like 700 and something yards right now. I think who leads the league right now is about, I think, Dak, or maybe like, I want to say Matthew Stafford, like 800 and something, but nevertheless, he's 5th in the league in passing yards. Yes, with all the turnovers, 5th in the league in passing yards. So, this is what I believe is more of who Jalen Hurts is. The thing is, can we get Jalen Hurts to put a complete game, a turnover-free game you want? But if you have to turn over no more than once by your quarterback, at least, you don't want turnovers, period. But Jalen, if we could get him to put together a clean game, consistent game, and not saying you're going to have ups and downs, not saying you have to punt the ball, not saying you have to turn over you're not going to, I'm not saying you're going to score every possession, but can we have a complete game by Jalen Hurts going forward? Because if that's the case, I don't see why this team cannot go as far as the Super Bowl. But it's definitely evident, if this Philadelphia Eagles team wants to go to the Super Bowl this year, it all will come down on the shoulders of Jalen Hurts this year. Can't turn the ball over, Hurts. Point blank, period. We know you special. We know what you could do. The fourth quarter against the Saints showed what you can do. You just can't turn the ball over. You just cannot turn the ball over. That's all, Jalen. That's all. That's all. Again, we're going to move on. But again, that's it. I know it seems so simple. And I know it's not that simple when you're in the game. But just overall, Jalen Hurts, no turnovers. Shoot, this game we might even have ran with away even further. So like I said, Eagles win 15-12 over the New Orleans Saints down in New Orleans. Tough environment on the road, overcoming the 2 turnovers by Jalen Hurts. Started off slow, but that fourth quarter they showed up, showed out, and they played their behinds off good enough to be able to walk out of there with that win. And not they, offensive line, A. Dallas Goedert, A++. Saquon Barkley, A+. Jalen Hurts, first half, D. I don't care. I would say D because he had some good plays, but D at the most. 2 turnovers, unacceptable. Second half, Jalen Hurts, B+, A. Jalen Hurts, A, second half. I would say for real. I know I probably won't get the same reaction from others, but second half, Jalen Hurts, A for me. Solid A. Solid A. Of course, missed some passes. Probably could have made some better reads, but overall, didn't turn the ball over, completed a lot of his passes, made the right plays when it counted, and we ran out of there with the win. Moving on. So Jalen Hurts, offense. But this is where it gets sticky for me. Pause. This is where it gets sticky for me because Before we even get into it all the way, me personally, I believe we have one. I know people would say it'll be a small, simple size, but 3 weeks is good enough for me. I believe we have a Nick Sirianni issue. We all know going into the season, a lot of responsibility was took from Nick Sirianni. A lot of things he had to worry about, he didn't have to worry about it anymore. The offense was in Kellen Moore's hands. The defense was in Vic Fangio's hands. So essentially, he was the overseer of the team as a head coach. You know, the speeches, getting teams ready, getting players ready, a part of the game plan, even at times. You know, but then ultimate say on the football field. And for 2 weeks now, specifically, because there were some in the first game as well in Brazil, but the last 2 weeks they were more egregious and had me even thinking, is Nick Sirianni shaving points? Is Nick Sirianni, like, he's literally actively costing us the game. He's actively, watching that Eagles game yesterday, I really felt Nick Sirianni was actively trying to make us lose that game. Actively trying to make us lose that game. I couldn't believe some of the decisions that were made going into that game. And two decisions specifically. And let me go back to the whole shaving points thing. I don't want people to sit here, run with this saying that Nick Sirianni, this and that, shaving points, X, Y, Z. I'm not saying that. Jokes and fun. But again, you couldn't watch it and didn't feel like that was happening. But like I said, two plays specifically, and we all know were the fourth downs. And the one that we went for, not as egregious, and I want to specifically talk about the one before the half. Plays prior, I told y'all earlier, three of the last possessions that the Eagles had. Punt, turnover, turnover. Punt, turnover, turnover. Punt, turnover, turnover. So we finally make plays on the offense. This was the big pass to Dallas Goedert down the field. Not the late game. He had one actually earlier that game as well. I think it was about 20-yard catch. Goedert in the red zone. Ran a couple plays. Time was running down. I believe it was 3rd and 7 with about 20-something seconds left. I'm going to say 30 seconds left. 30, 34 seconds left, if I'm not mistaken. Complete the pass to Paris Campbell. He was short of the line of game. He was short of the first down. We're forced with a 4th and 1. This is my issue when it comes to it. And everyone should have this issue. After that 3rd and 7 play completion to Paris Campbell with about 30 seconds left, about time the Eagles got to the line, timeout, all those things of that nature, we're seeing at about 10 seconds left in the game. Maybe a little over. If you guys know, put it in the chat, let me know the scenario. I don't have it all with me right now. But again, we all know what play we're talking about here. You got 10 seconds left. Well, after the 4th down play was ran, so you actually had about 20-something seconds left. So instead of knowing you didn't have any points at this time, at this current time, I believe the score was either 3-0, 6-0. I'm going to say 3-0. Might have been 6. Either way, 6-0. I'm going to go 6-0. You have a little over 10 seconds left. Nick Sirianni, instead of sitting there taking the field goal points, Jake Elliott hasn't been out there all day. You've already went for it on fourth down already in the red zone earlier. It didn't convert on that one. That left us with no points. But then when we finally got some motion, got some momentum, got some rhythm, Jalen Hurts is dealing a bit, connected with Dallas Goedert with a long pass. We on fourth down. We're in the red zone. We have about 12, 13, 14 seconds left. 15 seconds left. You elect to go forward in a tush-push formation. And instead of do the tush-push, well, I still didn't like to play, period, because I'm taking the points regardless. This is the half. You talk about having, 10 seconds left on the kickoff after that? I know things can happen, but take the points. Not only do you not do that, you go in tush-push, which I don't like anymore because it's not effective. I believe the defenses took all offseason to figure out how to stop it. It hasn't really worked like it wanted to this year. And once I see Nick Sirianni on the sideline talking to Jalen too long and he's actually in the mix talking to him as far as what the next play was, I knew what was coming. So you already don't elect to do the actual tush push with only a yard. You go for the fake tush push to the outside pitch to Saquon Barkley and you get stopped. So now you're sitting at 10 seconds, turnover on downs, and no points. And the Saints kneel and go to halftime up 6-0. Take the points, Nick. Nick Sirianni actively tried to cost this team. There's no way around it. And if he's not actively trying to cost the team, he has to get better at his game management and game decision making. Because plays like that, decisions like that, ask Dan Campbell in the playoffs last year. You lose games. We're in New Orleans, Superdome. It's 1 o'clock afternoon. It's lit. They're loud as ever. They showed the sound meter. It was at like 150 at one point. So it's loud in there. You're in a sound account anyway. And you don't take the points. You finally got some momentum. You finally got some traction and rhythm going, and you don't take the points. Those are momentum killers. At least going to the half feeling good. We got some points. We got some motion. We got some plays that we seen that work. We know what plays that don't work. And you elect to go for it on fourth down. Again, Nick Sirianni. Why? And then if you was to convert the fourth down, Nick, what were you going to do with 10 seconds left in the game? Take a shot at the end zone? It wasn't worth it. If you want to talk about percentages, it doesn't even line up with the analytics at that moment, even if you want to bring up analytics, Nick Sirianni. Take the points. Football is very simple. Football is very simple at its core when you're talking about these situations. 4th and 1 in the red zone and you can leave going to the half only down 3? But you elect to not even go for that? Bad job by your head coach, Nick Sirianni, which I believe we do have an issue with Nick Sirianni. Absolutely have an issue with Nick Sirianni. Not sure who could teach him how it can be taught. We'll find out. We will find out. We will find out. We will find out. But as of right now, I cannot trust my Eagles head coach right now. I cannot trust him. I cannot trust him to be tapped into the game, knowing the situational awareness that comes along with being a head coach in the game. Because plays like that, or more so decisions like that, cost you playoff games, will lose you a playoffs games, will deny you the satisfaction of raising a Lombardi trophy. And I look at it as we all know the Eagles as a whole, but especially Nick Sirianni is an overcorrector or a person who likes to stick to his guns. If he say he has a certain personality, if Nick Sirianni says he has a certain personality, he's going to stay true to that personality. And I knew it going into this game he was going to do. He heard the news. I don't care how much they say they don't listen to the clippings and what's going on out here. They listen. Because he proved to us everything we said the previous week against Atlanta about him being too aggressive. He doubled down. Nick Sirianni doubled down on his aggressiveness this week against the New Orleans Saints and almost cost us the game once again. It cost us already, but it almost cost us another game. You cannot leave points on the floor. You cannot leave points on the field. You cannot leave points on the field in the National Football League. You cannot. There's situations, yes, you go forward on fourth. Situations, yes, you might go for two here. You know, late in game, you need the points. Yes, you might want to go onside kick here. Fire Nick, get rid of Huff. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be absolutely honest. The last 2 weeks, and specifically this week, the decisions that Nick Sirianni made, those were fireable offenses that were made. Absolutely fireable offenses that were made. There's no way as an owner of an NFL team, you look at your head coach go for it on fourth down twice and leave points on the field when it was only a one possession game. Those two field goals, if we would have went for the earlier one and the one before the half, guess what the score would have been? Even with all that happened with the two turnovers by Jalen and nothing really happening in the offense, we still would have went into halftime. Tied up 6-6. So, again, you cannot tell me any analytics you were reading, anything you were reading, you cannot tell me that was the correct decision to make in that moment. It's no way. I'm a big fan of the Eagles 2024 season better. Eagles 21. Appreciate you, little G Griffin. I'm a big fan as well. And it's good to see them, get a win, get off the snide, try to build some momentum. I appreciate that absolutely. So it definitely was good to see from that. Appreciate everyone, tapping in with the comments, engaging with me as we break down this Eagles game. Again, like I said, I appreciate you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel. Also, any comments, concerns, questions about the game during the game, call in, leave a message, 484-519-1498. Definitely want to hear what you got to say. Definitely play some of them if we get some, and I'll comment on them as well. But Nick Sirianni, man. Those are fireable offenses, and definitely he's on the hot seat. For me, he's on the hot seat. He's on the hot seat this season. If you're talking about you're going to coach like this, there's no way this type of coaching can go into next season. There's no way. We still need another running back, a bigger running back to carry the load. Gainwell's okay, but we need more power there. Another running back, absolutely. Can we upgrade from Gainwell? Absolutely. Gainwell was definitely fine for me yesterday. Didn't hurt us. Made some positive plays when he got in. I don't think we necessarily need a big back. Saquon is literally everything we need, and 9 times out of 10, Saquon definitely will play most of the downs, most of the snaps. He plays all 3 downs, so you're not really spelling them. Can we upgrade behind Saquon? Absolutely. My thing is, my bigger thing about the whole running back situation in this offense is just utilizing them a little more. That's all. Will Shipley's there. They like them. Gainwell's there. Just utilize them. I believe, and they tried to last night as well. Gainwell, I believe, the first half, it was a Gainwell drive. Like, you didn't even see Saquon. And speaking of that, and I'm going to move on. That's enough about stinking Sirianni right now. We're going to move on to the men of the hour, the defense. But I don't know what's going on with Kellen Moore. I'm not sure if he got a beef with Saquon, but you cannot go into the first half of that game yesterday and Saquon don't touch the ball whatsoever in the first quarter, period. And then the first half, I think he ended the first half with maybe 4 or 5 carries. That cannot happen. Because again, you could still hit that 20 to 25 touches mark with him, just spreading it out throughout the game. Because as you can see, he only need one play to be able to take it to the house. So that's my thought when it comes to that for sure. I appreciate your comment as well. What's that? ADW. Appreciate your comment as well. Jeff, appreciate your comment early. Tonio with the fire, Nick and Huff, John helping me ride this. I appreciate you guys stepping in. But yeah, Kellen Moore, he wasn't perfect for me yesterday neither. He has to definitely get people more involved. I seen a little bit more, I'm not going to say creativity, but more so assertive measures to get other people involved. Even before Devontae Smith went down, obviously the Dallas Goedert, but like I said, some targets to Paris, some targets to Jahan Dotson, Covey. I believe he got hurt on this play, but had a nice play on a bubble screen to the right, made the defender miss, got the first down, but he got hit, so I believe that's where he got hurt on as well. But Kellen Moore, he has to be better, absolutely better. I don't like everything I see from him, just to be honest, but he hasn't been a severe issue where, unlike Nick Sirianni, where you could tell when Nick Sirianni makes his impact, or his imprint, rather, I should say, on the game versus when Kellen Moore is calling. But enough about the offense. Let's move on. We're going to have a whole week to talk about. Then let's move on to the main event. We already know, man. We already know this Philadelphia Eagles defense, y'all, had a bad rep going into it. We all know they didn't play their best the first 2 games, but to sit there, Vic Fangio and the guys to sit there and come in and play the play they way, they played absolutely sensational yesterday. Yes, some hiccups. Yes, certain things happen. Yes. And let's get it out the way now because he doesn't deserve too much light because it's still an Eagles win today. But yes, we need edge rushers. Bryce Huff again out there showed up for you. Bryce Huff yesterday against the Saints, 0 pressures, 0 sacks, 0 QB hits. I mean, 0. Huff has 2 pressures on the season so far on a 4.7% pressure rate. Not good at all. He was trying out there. He even had during his press conference, obviously talked about, he really, really focusing on setting the edge. I did see him out there, set the edge a lot, force a lot of the runs back inside, but the corners are still an issue. The edges are still, not the cornerbacks, but like the edges of the defensive line are still an issue. The Saints' biggest runs were to the outside when Kamara really got off, got some good, nice chunk yards to the outside. The Eagles have to do something. I still remain on that topic. Howie Roseman and the Eagles, they have to figure out how to upgrade that. I feel like the way the defensive line played yesterday, if we get another just pass rusher with that, I believe they could be a formidable unit for sure. But as a unit, let me get to my boys, man. Defense showed up and showed out from start to finish. Like I said earlier today, this live, 2 crucial red zone stops, only holding them to 3 points after 2 crucial turnovers early by Jalen Hurts. A 4th and 1 stop by Zach Bond, who was all over the place. Him, Reed Blankenship with another interception. That's 2 on the year by him to seal the game. All caused by the pressure of Jalen Carter specifically, who had an absolute amazing game. Literally wrecked the New Orleans Saints offense all game long. Abused their guards all day long. Center all day long. Defense, it didn't matter who was guarding him. Double teams, it didn't matter. He was a offensive wrecker yesterday in that game. In that game, Jalen Carter was absolutely sensational. Like I said, Zach Bond, and sensational. Going back home, he was in. If you didn't know, he was in New Orleans for 4 years and couldn't crack the a rotational piece or a starting lineup. Was mainly special teams for New Orleans for 4 years. So we was all a little skeptical, but he's been as advertised. Shout out to Vic Fangio. One, realizing him going to get him, led the team in tackles once again, leads the league in tackles overall. 9 solo tackles, 4 assist tackles yesterday. Absolutely sensational yesterday. Jalen Carter, like I said, 4 combined tackles, 3 solo, 1 assist tackle. Had quite a few deflections, quite a few pressures, and one specifically, 2 special plays. One, Jalen Carter deflected a pass that could have been a touchdown that made him kick a field goal when we turned the ball over. And then obviously the pressure late in the game that ended up a interception by Reed Blankenship. I showed y'all the cornerback percentages earlier in the day. They were great on the back end as well. All around, the defense was absolutely amazing yesterday. The defense was amazing yesterday, and specifically the defensive line. And shout out Vic Fangio for understanding, adjusting. He made it a concerted effort to go bigger on the defensive line, and more so specifically bigger on the edges. I believe when he broke down the percentages as far as how many people played on defense, how many snaps, I think Bryce Huff only played about 13% of the snaps. It was a lot of BG on the corners. Like I said, Jalen Carter was out there as well. Milton Williams was out there. And shout out, this will go unnoticed as well, shout out Thomas Booker. It's just every time he's on the floor, he shows up. Every time he pops out, he makes a play. He had a couple nice plays as well. The defense was sensational from start to finish of this game. Like I said, the Saints were coming into this game tops in the league in all offensive categories, essentially like that. But to sit there and come into this game after Kamara lit up, I believe it was the Cowboys last week, to hold them to only 87 yards catching and only 40 yards receiving, that's a win. That's a win. And didn't score yesterday. They had 1 touchdown yesterday to Chris Olave, which, eventually the defense was going to give up something late, because I believe that was also off of a punt, or they didn't have long ago. It was a little bit of a short field. But either way, sensational by the defense yesterday. I can't speak about it. Back to Zach Bond. Baldy does a lot of things on Instagram, breaking down film. And I just want to show you like how special, because for me defensively, if I had to give MVPs for the defense, absolutely co-MVPs is Zach Bond and Jalen Carter. And we're going to look at this for a little bit. This was Zach Bond. Baldy breaks this down, talks about how crucial that 4-for-1 play was that we stopped them on. So here's Baldy.
Performances by the Eagles, keeping the Saints team to 12 points. But this man, Jalen Carter, was absolutely dominant. A lot of late stemmings, like his ability just to win and to beat one-on-ones all day long.
I'm sorry, y'all, that's the wrong one. Give me 1 second. Here goes Zach Bond right here. All right, here go Baldy on Zach Bond and his performance against.
Whole deep dive on Zach Bond in this game, but this play on 4th and 1 probably decided the game. Here comes the tight end across the formation. Foster Moreau to block him. Bam! Bam! Like you just melt that bucket, and then you take Kamara and you pull him backwards. And he can't get a stinking yard. Zach Bond made that play. He got help, but he played one hell of a game. He leads the NFL in tackles right here. Watch this play. Watch this from this angle. Leads the entire National Football League in tackles after 3. Bam! Stays on his feet. Down goes Kamara. He was a little pumped up to get down to New Orleans and show his old team where he was for 4 years. But that play, where's the fist? There's the fist. Slay's got it. 4th down. Stop. It's a turnover. Huge play in the game.
Huge play of the game by Zach Bond. That was 4th and 1. Stop them on 4th. I'm telling you, that defense played amazing yesterday, and specifically that front seven, who like I said, we all had issues going into this season. Not issues, but question marks about going into the season. Zach Bond has been great. Like I said, shout out Vic Fangio for recognizing a talent, recognizing the potential he could be in the right system, and he said it. I think the man's name was Van Kinkel down in Miami, who he had. He said he reminded him of Zach Bond reminds him of Van Kinkel down in Miami. He's not Miami, the linebacker down in Miami. Shout out to him, recognizing that talent, recognizing the potential that he could be in this defense, which I believe, other than the corner, other than Slay and Blankenship and CJ, Zach Vaughn was probably the only steady. Obviously, Jalen, the defense line, we're not counting. We're talking about the back end, but the linebacker was in. Zach Vaughn was the only person throughout all season, training camp, preseason, and now in these games has been consistent in everything he's done, each and every practice. Always good things to say about him. Making plays, even in practice. Like you said, those of us who here follow the beat reporters that's here in Philadelphia, we heard the reports how good Zach Vaughn has been in practice, making plays, tackling, breakups, all those things. Great pickup by Vic Fangio and his Eagles, recognizing the talent and utilizing. And then, like I said, back to the man of the hour, who I believe was probably the MVP of the game overall, was Jalen Carter, man. My young boy, JC. Bread man. Yeah. Shout out to my guy, JC. Jalen Carter, man. Sensational game. Totally wrecked the New Orleans Saints offense all day long. All day long. This is what we expect from him with the absence of Fletcher Cox leaving. But this is what they were talking about during the draft as to why he should have been the number 1 overall pick overall. But for some dumb, strange reason, I don't care what it is, you let him slide down to the Eagles. So I appreciate every team in front of it. I think we picked them 6. I appreciate every last one of y'all that passed up on a generational talent such as Jalen Carter, everybody. No offensive lineman on that New Orleans Saints offensive line could handle that man. A man. Swim moves. Bully ball. Man, you know what? I'm not going to even talk about it, man. Let Baldy talk about it. Baldy going to talk about it. I love the way he broke it down when it came to Jalen Carter as well. Let Baldy tap into it real quick, and I'll be right back with you. We're going to talk all about it. Let's go, Baldy.
Performances by the Eagles, keeping the Saints team to 12 points. But this man, Jalen Carter, was absolutely dominant. A lot of late stemmings, like his ability just to win and to beat one-on-ones all day long. So you watch him inside right here. Watch what he does to Trevor Penny. Like he knocks him 3 yards to the backfield and watch him get off. Like Stack instead all day long. And then watch this. Little swat. And then we're not done. There's another swat. Bam. Another swat pass. Swat. Jalen Carter. Then you get this. These plays don't make the stat page, all right? Nothing about this makes the stat page, but he makes the play, all right? You watch him just get off the block right here. What's Derek Carr going to do when Jalen Carter's, like he's going to throw the ball into the dirt like he does, all right? Affects that throw. Watch this twist stunt right here, an exit stunt, and here he comes. Little swat right there again. Then you get this. Lucas Patrick came in for Eric McCoy at center. He has no shot of stopping Jalen Carter. No shot. Like, you can't cut him off. Gets off the block, down goes Kamara. Shut this offense down almost single-handedly. And then another third down stop. All right? 2 third down stops right here. 3rd and 3, they're going to run Kamara. Right? Here he comes off right tackle. Watch Jalen Carter. Watch him get rid of the guard right here and make the play. Like, classic, textbook. One textbook play after another. It's hard to complete passes. I don't care what the name of the back of the jersey is. If your diaphragm is getting smashed by Jalen Carter, because here it comes. And Derek Carr is throwing this ball. I don't know where it's going. I think Slay is all over this down the field. They shut Shaheed down the whole game. And then he went through men and he went around men. Didn't matter. Like, here it is. Like that escape, and down goes Kamara. Like, Jalen Carter was the most dominant defensive player on this field. And there was a lot of great defensive players on the field. But that man was the best all game long.
The most dominant player on the field yesterday. Period. Jalen Carter was the most dominant player on the field yesterday. Wreaked havoc on every last play. Some way, form, or fashion. Even when other people got off, even when other people made the play, Jalen Carter's right there in the mix, or taking up 2 or 3 defenders because they so scared of him. Defenses are sliding, offensive line is sliding to him, making sure they don't get him. This defense was absolutely amazing. I cannot talk about them enough. I'm going to give them their flowers, give them all their credit that they had, all the credit right now. All the credit. Because they deserve it. I know when the teams, when the credit that they had, when the defense is playing all the credit, bad or trash or whatever you want to call it, all those things, we're going to talk about it. We're going to critique it. We're going to explain. But when they play well, and I mean very well, almost dominant, we have to talk about it and bring it up as well. And though that Eagles defense played exceptional yesterday, have no quarrel with nothing. I know the touchdown, it was 1-on-1. I want to say it was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Might have been him. If I'm wrong, my apologies. Don't come at me, CJ, I apologize. I know, but the one touchdown, long touchdown that they had to Chris Olave in the corner, okay. Made that right back up. Y'all ain't go for 4th down all day. You ain't go 4th down all day, but now you're down, now you got to go for it. But what we going to do? 4th and 1. Stand up. Y'all seen it? Zach Bond. Bang. What ball did he say? Pow. Pow. You know? Depleted him, shed him, get to Kamara, and bring him back because his momentum was going forward, and bring him back because he didn't reach the 1st down. Defense was sensational last night. Absolutely sensational. And it's crazy talking about Jalen Carter. I love his mindset. I love the guy. I love the way his thought process is. Yes, he's young. Yes, he has a lot to learn, but that all comes with age, and the more time you hear, maturity comes. And I'm not saying he's immature. I'm just saying in general, as a man, as a person, over time, maturity comes, understanding comes. A lot of the different things open up for you. I heard something crazy. What Wallow used to say, when you're 25, when that alarm clock hits, that eternal alarm clock hit, when your brain just opens up and you start, it's only the sky's the limit for this guy. And I love his attitude right here. I'm gonna play a clip right here. This is Jalen Carter after the game about his play.
Last week you were hard on yourself. A couple days ago, calling your first two games performance trash. What would you describe your performance tonight?
Trash.
You didn't think you did well tonight either.
I still don't like how I played, but I know that we played good as a team today. That's one thing, and I'm happy for that. I think we got some boost in the locker room right now, and we just got to move on to next week and get another dub.
What would it take for you to be happy with the performance?
I don't know. I got to be like Khalil Mack, get like 6 sacks in one game. No, I'm just playing, but I don't know, man. I feel like I love sacks. I know that's big. I love tackle. I love everything, but I don't know. Just getting a dub as a team makes me happy, but I still got to see more out of myself.
And for this man, did y'all hear that? For this man, Jalen Carter, to have a game the way he had yesterday, and for him to still come out after that and say to us that he believes he still had a trash game. If that's trash, I don't want to see a good game. I tell you that much. And that's real rap. That is real rap. If he's telling me right now that he know he can be much better than what you see now, this NFL is in trouble. Offensive lines are in trouble. And this is right now when he's playing with people who aren't as talented as him. Still his boys. Got his road dog next to him, Jordan Davis. We all know. We seen a Jordan Davis sighting. He got a sack yesterday. That was good to see on Derek Carr. But we talked about Bryce Huff and stuff like that as well. But again, look, we Gang Green. We got a Jets fan here. Get out of here. Or hopefully talking about the Eagles. Did we convert you? Hopefully we talk about the Eagles for sure. But yeah, if you're telling me this was a trash game and you could get better, yeah, man. And I love the humbleness. I love the humbleness that he's trying to understand that this is the NFL any given Sunday, and then also don't want to, put a target on his back and, whatever it might be, even though I don't think he's scared of anybody. But I'm just saying, saying the right things, but at the same time, I really do believe he means it and he believes it. Because at the end of the day, that's how you gotta think. I can get better. I can do more. I can wreck it more. Like you say, he loves sex. He had a lot of pressures to tip balls a day. He's getting closer and closer to them quarterbacks. Like he said, a good game to him is like 6 sacks. You know how hard that is in the NFL? And then not only how hard it is, we talking about from the position he plays, a defensive tackle, the interior defensive lineman. That is very difficult to do. Talk about 6 sacks in the game. But he has that potential. He got that dog in him. He got that mean streak in him. He got that drive in him. He got that potential. He got that talent. Jalen Carter, big shots to you, young boy. Keep doing your thing. Keep learning. Keep growing, man. You will be a leader of this defense going forward. You will be a focal point. You will be the key, one of the keys to this defense moving forward. When older guys like Slayer gone, it's just you, baby. You, Reed, Quentin, Dean, Jordan, all those guys, man. BG won't be here next year. Shout out to BG, my road dog. Brandon Graham, 36 years old, 15 years in, still making plays. On the pick, I'm sorry, I said Jalen Carter earlier. I apologize. Jalen Carter had a great game. But on the pick to seal the game to Reed Blankenship, it was none other than my boy Brandon freaking Graham. Brandon Graham, who forced that pressure on Derek Carr to throw that errant pass to Reed Blankenship. That was BG who got through there. Shout out to BG, my guy. It's funny. I'm gonna pull it up here for you now. He had a funny quote at the end of the game that is basically a testament to who he is, who Brandon Graham is, and how much work he put in, how much he loves this game, and how much he's gonna put everything he got into this season, his last hurrah, letting y'all know this ain't no ceremonial season for me. I'm actually out here and I'm ready to make plays. I'm going to contribute. He played more snaps than Bryce Huff. But again, that lets you know the testament of what I was even talking about with Jalen Carter. When that alarm clock goes off and that game slow down and that mental game start unleashing, he's only going to get better. Shout out BG. There's a good clip from BG I want to play here that was funny at the end of the game. It basically shows you who he is, man, through and through.
She don't want no puppy. She want a big dog. Let's go.
She don't want no puppy. She want a big dog. I got to put that on the drop board next, BJ. Put that on the, she don't want no puppy. She want a big dog. It's going to be right here. She don't want no puppy. She want a big dog. Yeah, man. Defense was sensational yesterday. Shout out to the defense. Shout out for having a great game. Shout out for keeping us in the game. Shout out for making plays when it counted. Shout out for the big 4-for-1 stop. Shout out for the interception by Reed Blankenship. Shout out for Jalen Carter for terrorizing the New Orleans Saints defense. Shout out for Zach Baum for making every tackle on the planet out there. Come on, man. Let's go Eagles, man. We're moving on, man. I appreciate you guys coming in, watching the show, man. We're almost done. We're going to move on to our next subject because we can get on out of here. The time has been well spent. Obviously, dirty play. Is it a dirty play? Is it not a dirty play? You guys down in the comments, after this live, you let me know. Let us know what you think about the Devontae Smith late hit after the we all thought, forward progress was took away. But let's hear Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, one of the leaders on defense. Let's see what he has to say about the hit, and we'll respond to that.
Man, that's the dirtiest shit I ever saw in football, bro. Y'all obviously saw forward progression was stopped. I mean, for them to take a cheap shot on one of our key players, it goes to show you what type of team that is. They're front runners.
Which one are you talking about?
Man, you know what hit that was, man.
Oh, there's the penning one too.
Man, either way it go, man. They ain't got nowhere for football. Y'all always talk about CD this, but let's talk about how they playing dirty on their side. But at the end of the day, the league will handle it. They ain't got nothing to do besides we got the dub and keep it pushing.
He explained it very well there. Do I believe it was a cheap shot? Absolutely. Do I believe it was a dirty play? Absolutely. Rather the whistles were blown or not, I believe as a human being, I know they teach you and they're going to say, we keep running through when the whistles are blown. I've seen plenty of times people being stood up. You can see a play being basically done. I've seen plenty of times players hold up. But my thing is with that play is you see two of your teammates driving him backwards. He ain't going forward. He's not like he's pushing him forward. We talk about Smitty, you this big. We're not talking about he's going forward or he's gaining more yards. He's being pushed back. Momentum has stopped going forward. Yes, the whistles wasn't blown officially just yet, but for you to come in, defensive lineman, almost 300 pounds, full speed, and run into the back of that man like that, it was no way in hell you thought that was in a dirty play or a cheap shot. And then, rather it was on him, near him, I don't care. I seen it. And you can go online and look at it. Someone spits either near, on, or around Smitty after they get up off the floor. And no, it wasn't something in my mouth, pause, I got to spit it out. No, it was one of them, when you spitting on somebody, you spitting on them. So you seen it. You seen the spit come out the man's mouth. Rather it was near him, around him, it don't matter. So that let you know. And then even earlier in the game, because I would say they're being dirty as a team overall or cheap shotting us out there as overall, because early in the play, that Smitty play was just a compound to what happened early in the play when we lost. We ended the game with our starting cornerback and Slay not even playing. Kelly Ringo had to play the other side of Quentin Michael Mitchell. From another cheap shot, dirty play. I believe it's Hurts. No, we was on defense. I'm sorry. It was a run to the right. Kamara forced out of bounds. You see out of nowhere an offensive lineman still got Darius Slay. Y'all go online and look at it. Driving him all the way to the bench to the point where Slay gets hurt. Holding his knee in obvious pain. In obvious pain. That was them all day. They couldn't, although the score might not dictate it, if you look at that game, you could tell who was the best team we could tell who was the best team on that field. Hands down. Who had the most talent on that field? Who was the better team that day on that field? And the defense showed that. Through and through. Great job, defense. Great job, Jalen, in the offense late to pull it through, to win. On the injury side of things, like I just mentioned, we had a couple people that's injured after that game. After CJ, he was questionable going into the game. He finally played. The only person who didn't play was A.J. Brown from the injury list the week before. Just a couple updates on the injuries coming out of that game yesterday. So we got on the injury front, Lane Johnson, as we know, concussion. We'll see how that go throughout the week. If he can make it back for Sunday against the Bucks. Like you said, Mekhi Becton, his finger. We're going to see how that looks throughout this week. We'll probably hear something more maybe tomorrow when he get back into the facility for treatment and stuff. So, obviously it's a possibility of Tyler Steen and Fred Johnson playing again this weekend. So we'll see how that goes as well. Had a solid day filling in for him, but we all know it's a different beast once a team can, scout and, look at their competition a little bit more. Britton Covey, I did see this morning that it was a shoulder injury in the game, but come to find out he has a broken bone in his shoulder. So it look like he'll be out for a couple weeks. I believe it says 6 weeks, so we have that. Like I said, Slay got hurt in the game as well. Excuse me. Slay got hurt in the game as well. But Slay did respond to a fan on social media over social media. Hope all is good, bro. And he responded to him, I'm good, my guy. So that's a good sign for me for next week. I guess it tells me that, it's more of a possibility that he'll play or not, but who knows? We'll see what happens as they get into to the facility. And obviously, the end all to be all, Devontae Smith, Schmitty, with the late dirty hit by the Saints, suffered a concussion. So 2 concussions, a finger, a broken shoulder, and Slay is he says he's okay. So we'll see as the game goes, as the week goes along, see who's available, who's not available, and any other, injuries pop up throughout the week. So we'll see what's going on with that. Like I said, in other news around the league, a lot of parity going on. And the Cowboys and the 49ers lost, and more so the Cowboys stink as always still. I guess let's just update our standings. Our standings for this week, as all of our teams have played already. So I know last week, last week we ended with the Washington Commanders, who were tops of our division because they had a division win. They had a division win. I could not find it. Okay, here we go. They had a division win. But after yesterday, do the Washington play tonight? Yeah, they played tonight actually, or was that Thursday? I'm not sure. I apologize. But either way, as it stands right now, the Eagles are in first at 2-1. Washington 1-1 with a game to play. The Giants lost. The Cowboys lost, so they're down 1-2 as well. Like I said, just for fans of the Eagles, obviously the newfound rivalry with the 49ers. They're 1-2, last in the division. You got the Seahawks, owning that division. That's kind of crazy as well. The Eagles sit currently within the National League third at 2-1, with the Vikings and the Seahawks both being 3-0. The Eagles are grouped together 2-1 with the Saints, Buccaneers. We get the Saints the first loss. Saints, Buccaneers, and Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. Good win by the Packers yesterday with Malik Willis being there starting, with Jordan Love still out. Followed up by, like I said, Commanders, Cardinals, Rams, 49ers, Giants, Panthers, Cowboys, and Bears all being 1-2. With the Commanders still having to play a game. So that's your update when it comes to the NFC and the NFC East. And it's always good to laugh at the Cowboys. It's always good to laugh at the Cowboys losing. And, Dak walking out the tunnel. Let them jump off the train now. Please, please. Yeah, we heard it all before, Dak. We heard it all before. But again, a great game by the Eagles defense. Great late game heroics comeback from Jalen Hurts in the offense. Saquon was great again. Dallas Goedert was sensational. Breakout game for Dallas Goedert. Jalen Carter is going to be a force to be reckoned with as the season goes on. Some late news for my basketball folks, especially about people in Philly. 76ers. The 76ers preseason schedule has been released. Let's see who we got here. I guess for you guys know what's going on in the preseason. Let's see who we got playing. Okay. 76 preseason schedule. It starts on the October 7th. I don't know who the Breakers are. It's probably someone overseas, like Australia or something. So we got the Breakers, the Timberwolves, the Celtics, the Hawks, the Nets, and the Orlando Magics. October 7th, 11th, 12th, 14th, 16th, and 18th. All right now, 76ers. They coming back. Basketball's on its way back, right around the corner. October's around the corner. Training camp starts in about, 2 weeks from now. We already locked and loaded on this front. Open gym, we bringing more. We bringing all of it. I know it's football right now, Eagles right now. We bringing all of it. Basketball season on the way. Baseball's about to enter into October. Red October, specifically for the Phillies. Playoff time is coming. We getting ready. It should be an exciting football season. And again, I appreciate everyone coming and joining me this morning on a Reaction Monday, the Morning Hustle Open Gym. Again, please, please, please tell your friends, tell your neighbors about this show each and every morning. If you want to talk about birds and around sports in general, tap in every morning. I got it for you. I got a couple guests lined up for next week and the week before, so keep locked for that. You'll be hearing something soon when it comes to that. Obviously, the Open Gym merch hats have been released. I'll put the link out. Follow all my social media accounts at only1AB. It's right there on the screen. Only the number one AB _ on all social media platforms. Follow Open Gym Network on all social media platforms. The only thing different is my name on Twitter. Someone stole this name, so it's actually only the number one _ AB on Twitter, if you can find me over there. So, again, I appreciate you guys coming in, joining the show. I had a great time. Thank you guys for all your comments. Again, hit that line, hit that phone number, leave a message. 484-519-1495. It's definitely, want to hear your comments, hear your concerns, hear your thoughts, play some of them, and we're going to have fun with that as well. Again, Eagles win. Eagles win 15-12, 2-1, headed to Tampa Bay this Sunday. Play 1 p.m. this Sunday. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, whoever else, revenge game from last season. In the playoffs, we lost to the Buccaneers, so it's definitely going to be a little extra juice for this games. We'll break down that game later on this week. Catch it live. I want to say either Thursday or Friday. I will let you know. We'll have a live to break that game down going into that game. But again, I appreciate you guys coming in, having fun with me, engaging with me. And before we get out of here, you already know on the Eagles win. And if you don't know, you're going to know now. After Eagles win, we go in and we go out the same way. So let's do it, people, and let's do it well. Play that song! Eagles fly on the road to victory. Happy Eagles Monday, everybody. Y'all have a great rest of the day. 2, 3. Hit them low, hit them high, and watch our Eagles fly. Y'all have a great rest of the day, everybody. Until next time, it's your boy AB. Yes, sir. Let's get out of here. EAGLES, Eagles.